All right, everyone, back again. Episode 17. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Fantasy Stand. Go follow them on Instagram and sign up for their fantasy games. Today we got a very special guest. He keeps it 100 on his Instagram. He's always funny and a good laugh too. My guy Greg Hackett's here. What's up, Greg?
I'm chilling, man. Appreciate you guys for having me, man.
What's going on, Greg?
What's the deal?
All right, so if you can let everybody know, where are you from?
I mean, I'm Greg Hackett from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 34 years old. I started boxing when I was 12 years old. I had 16 amateur fights, 24 pro fights. I started coaching in 2012, 2021 now, so I got almost 9 years in, and just having fun with it, man.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, you touched up on a couple of my questions, which is also with amateurs and all. But the one question I like to ask boxers, so of course, like Scooter told us once they got rid of the headgear in amateurs, that's when he knew that it was time to go pro. And then Sheem told us once the Olympic trials got canceled because of COVID, that's like when he knew he wanted to go pro and all too. But when did you know you were ready to go pro as a fighter?
I mean, I thought I was ready at probably like 18 years old, but I didn't turn pro till I was 21. And I had my first son at 20 years old. So it was kind of like just, I got to, do something with it now if I'm going to do something with the boxing. Because at my time, if you wasn't like looked at as somebody special or somebody that, did big things in the amateurs, then a lot of people wasn't looking to help you. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like you was on your own. So when I made the decision, I just say, come on, like I just want to fight. So I took the first thing that came my way,
Of course. All right, cool. And then I also like to ask this too to show that boxers are human, or maybe you might hide your emotions on this question. So you're a pro debut. Unfortunately, I never went to this venue, and I'm really disappointed. Maybe one day somebody will buy it. But the Blue Horizon, Nick, was a place where at sometimes the fights were better in the stands than the actual fight in the ring at times. Yeah, but Greg made his pro debut at the famous Blue Horizon April 11, 2008 versus Joel De La Paz.
Yeah.
So what were your nerves like? Were you nervous as hell, or was it everyday business for you for your pro debut?
I was more excited, because the headgear coming off wasn't a big problem for me because I was a street fighter. You know what I mean? I fought guys in the street all the time. So fighting with my headgear off wasn't a problem. Fighting in front of a crowd wasn't a problem. I was just real. I remember being really excited. So excited that the doctor, he goes to me, he says, your heart rate is like kind of high right now. He's like, yo, I think you got like some type of issues. And I'm like, no, trust me, I'm good. I'm like, yo, I'm just excited. He like, all right, well, we'll check you after the fight and we'll make sure everything okay. You know what I mean? So I just was ready to go, I just wanted to fight.
Yeah, like, could you imagine if that doctor said, Greg, listen, we're not going to send you out there? Like, that would have been crazy.
No, he tried that. He tried that, right? And I said to him, listen, my mother is out there. She wouldn't like that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't come around here with me not to fight. So, you know what I mean? My mom wouldn't like that. She would have went crazy if I didn't fight.
Yeah, of course. So what made you want to transition from fighter to boxer and coach? I mean, like, you're like really well respected in the city too, for like coaching all these young kids coming up and all. And also you got great prospects now that you're helping out and all. So what made you want to transition to that?
I mean, what made me transition was just love being around the sport and realizing that my career wasn't going to go the way I wanted it to. And it wasn't because, it was just that I just wasn't doing enough. It just didn't pan out that way. It's definitely a business. And if you don't understand the business side of it, then you're going to have trouble, you know what I mean, no matter what. So coaching, what I realized about coaching, I took coaching more seriously than I did fighting. Fighting to me, like I tell people all the time, fighting to me is like getting on a dirt bike for some guys. It's just a thrill, It's the excitement, just get that blood rush. So that's what fighting is to me. I'll fight anybody, anytime. I don't care. But coaching, I'm a lot more serious, a lot more strategic. You know what I'm saying? I'm just on these guys, So with coaching, I knew it was going to be a little bit different because how serious I take it. You know what I mean? So I just made the transition just simply because I wanted to give back, basically.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. And I also liked, I think you posted it when the guys were allowed to go back into the gyms, but I do remember you posting on your Insta story that like if a guy doesn't take you serious, meaning that, he put all this work in yesterday, and if you put him on the scale and he weighs a pound or two more than what he did working out, then you don't want nothing to do with him.
Yeah, that means you bullshit. You know what I mean? And then you ain't gonna do nothing but give me a fucking headache, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't need that, bro.
Exactly. So for those who don't know, I mean, obviously the Philly guys that are going to watch this once we share the video know who you train, but for some of our followers that are out of state and all, but who are some of the prospects and Philly guys that are pro now that you work with?
Well, I worked with Paul Crow for 6 fights. Took him. He was 2-0 when he came to me. I took him to 6. I took 6 fights with him, so he's 8-0 now with 6 knockouts. So he was 6-0, 4 knockouts with me. I worked with Rasheem Jefferson for 2 fights. Junior, I worked with him for 2 fights. He's 4-0 right now. I worked with Yosafat Ortiz, who is I think 7-0. I worked with him for 1 or 2 fights. I worked with what's his name? Oh shit, Cool Boy Steph. I worked with him the fight before last when he fought the kid in New York, Arnold Kagi, for that 12-round fight. I mean, it's a nice little list, man. Nice little list.
Of course, yeah. So like, what do you think about Paul? I mean, like to me, like I put Paul. So like obviously Boots, I wouldn't consider a prospect anymore because I think he's really established himself in the boxing game, and it's literally just a matter of time that he gets a belt, whether it's the end of the year or hopefully next year he gets that title shot. But I do have Paul Kroll on my list as probably the #1 prospect welterweight out of Philly. But like, what do you have envisioned for Paul?
I mean, that's definitely a fair assessment. Paul, it's really depending on how they move, because Paul is a guy who's mentally ready because of his experiences. But it's like people don't understand the layoffs and stuff like that in the ring. Because of Corona, he sat for 9 months in between his next fight, but he only had 8 fights. And his last fight was his first 10-round fight. I mean, that's pretty big to go into, and you coming off a layoff. A lot of people don't understand that, though. The ring rush will show. And as long as he's active, he'll be cool. So I think this year, I think he should fight no less than 4 times.
Okay. Yeah. And then for those that didn't see, I think Paul fought in October. He had a very, very close bout, but I had it 6-4 against Santa Maria. Was probably his toughest opponent that he's fought as a pro, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that kid was. See, the thing is, that kid wasn't a slouch at all, because I'm gonna say about 7 weeks before he fought Paul, he had just beat not an undefeated, but a 22-1 Macau Fox from down DV area, and Macau Fox is 6'5", 6'4". You know what I mean? That's a big guy who can fight, and he jumped on his ass. So for Paul to even take that fight, speaks a lot of who he is, and he got the job done. But it was tough, and I didn't think it was going to be easy, because the guys, he comes to fight.
Right.
Yeah, especially with the mindset saying like, I'm going into this fight, it's going to be easy. You can't have that mindset in any fight. So I think what you're stating is Paul always has the mindset like, this is going to be the toughest fight of my life every time he steps in the ring. Yeah,
definitely. And and the kid Santa Maria, what was unique about that fight was they both was young guys. You know what I mean? Usually when you see a young fighter taking a step up, he's fighting an older guy, a guy who's been around, who maybe just coming to get a check, or maybe gonna put up a little bit of a fight, and at some point he give up. But it was nice to see him in there with a young cat, and they go at each other 100%. It was a good fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then let's touch up on Sheem. I'm very excited for Sheem because Sheem carries himself very well too. So if it was up to him, he would have want to fight Chris Colbert or somebody now, but you need to slow him down a little bit. But I love the way he fights. I loved his shoulder roll punches that he throws. He makes it look so natural and easy. And then obviously having the genes and the blood of his father, who was a hell of an amateur and also a pro, Rel,
Yeah.
you know. But what do you see Sheem doing? I mean, like, I think this is a great fight coming up for him against Stroud, I think his last name is, who's 6-0. He's fighting him March 6th. But what do you see for Sheem probably in the next 2 years or so at the 126 weight?
I mean, definitely within the next 2 years, he'll be fighting for a title simply because Sheen doesn't want to waste time. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of guys in boxing who are good when they're, right now at a young age, but they don't want to test it. They don't want to get right out there and see if they're the best. Sheen one of those guys who talk like that, but he believe it. He says he's the best, and he want to prove that he's the best. So I think within 2 years, they moving him right. I think, he'll make it happen. This guy that he's fighting is undefeated, but he's not a big threat. He's not a big threat because he's 6-0 and he only has 1 knockout. So he's not a big puncher. Sheem, on the other hand, is 4-0 with no knockouts. So I look at it as an even fight, but he's not a big threat to Sheem. I mean, he's nobody that Sheem never seen before.
Right. And he is such a great kid. Like he has great personality. He's funny, and he's just very confident when he talks. And like, we had him on the podcast and we had him on the Instagram Live for Fight Week too. And you could just feel that he's like, really determined, and you feel that he's going to get that W and all. Like, he's just very confident.
Yeah. That's what you have to have as a fighter. I don't care where you're from, who you are, because if you spend time thinking about losing, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose. So you got to want to win. You got to have the will to win, and you got to see yourself actually going in there and performing. So, yeah, I mean, he definitely needs it, and he's for real about it too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then so for you personally in boxing, so what are some of your goals as a coach? And also, I wanted to ask you, do you want to get back into the ring at least once this year to fight like a small 4 to 6 rounder?
Yeah, I'll fight. Like I said, I'll fight anytime. I don't care where it is. I'll travel, or it could be local. I love the local fights because I love for the local fans to see me get to put on a show. But yeah, I definitely love to fight. And then it goes for me as a coach, a personal goal I definitely have. I want to train 4 world champions at one time, 4 different weight classes.
Okay. Yeah, that is a great goal. I mean, like, I see you all the time. You're always in the gym, no matter who the fighter is. It could be one of your guys or even someone just helping out. I mean, you just have that gift of teaching all, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Of course. And then if you could let us know, like, what was it like in Vegas bubble? I mean, like, I know, like, you like made like fun out of it, like you were like giving people like tours of like the bubble and stuff. But like, what was it like to be back there not only once but at least like 3 or 4 times? Because I know you went there with Yosefat, and then you went there with Sheem twice. But what the hell is it like inside that Vegas bubble?
I mean, it's like being on detention and shit, man. Like, you ever, like you ever been on detention with your homies and shit, but y'all can't go nowhere. It's like, all right, we all go. It's like we all go eat together. Because I wouldn't say jail, because jail wouldn't be that comfortable, but I was pretty comfortable. But it was like boring being in Las Vegas and you can't go enjoy Las Vegas. Like, imagine that as a grown man.
Yeah.
Like,
that's my favorite place on earth.
Right, exactly. That's one of my favorites. I call it my second home, So it's like being, it was fun because you still get to see guys like I ran into Freddie Roach, I ran into Buddy McGirt, Robert Garcia. You run into all the good guys, you know what I mean? And that felt good, sitting down and eating lunch with those guys. Not at the same table, but just being in the same room. That was like legendary. That was like some shit I had to really soak in, because it made me feel like, well, if I wasn't supposed to be here, then I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? If I wasn't somebody supposed to be doing this, then I wouldn't be here right now. So that part of it was good, but it was just like, it was a little draining, you know what I mean? Just sitting in the room, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that you didn't do what Josue Vargas's dad did. That was a fucking crazy that he thought he'd go to the ground floor and maybe go gamble in the morning, and then
Yeah, I heard about
he
that.
wasn't allowed to train him, and then Chino had to step in.
Yeah, that was crazy. I heard about that. And then I heard he had the jacket on and shit that said Team Vargas. So it's like, like damn, bro, he set himself up.
Yeah, it's like robbing a bank and you show up with the same bag that is on the news. Like, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, like real. But I'm glad his son got the win. You know.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I have 3 fun questions for you. Not to put you on the spot for this one, but we usually like to ask the guys and all. So who are your top 5 Philly fighters right now?
Top 5 right now.
Yes.
Number 5, Julian Williams.
J-Rock, okay.
Number 4, Tevin Farmer.
Tev, okay.
Number 3, Atif Overton, just turned pro.
Yeah, okay.
Number 2, Cool Boy Steph.
Scooter, okay.
And number 1 is my son. Number 1 is my son, Makai Hackett.
Makai Hackett, all right. We're going to have to watch out for him then, for
Yeah.
sure. Wait, but speaking about Tev,
Yeah,
what do you
only
think
14,
about this
but-
whole damn situation with Jojo Diaz, okay? He comes in 3.6 pounds over the limit and then looks like complete shit at the fight, and now it sets up probably a mandatory for Tev to get his belt back.
I mean, then that means he's in Tev's favor. All Tev got to do is get ready and deliver. You know what I mean? Jojo, what happens with these guys is, man, when they get these belts and they become champion, you got to remember that was a dream since a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So you become distracted. You become distracted simply because all you're doing is soaking up the attention. So you're not really training like you're supposed to train. So then when the fight comes, you know, that's what you get.
Right.
You got to be able to focus. Man. A lot of these guys, they lose focus. You got to continue to focus, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy because like it's like such a bad look for him because, you know, like right after the fight he signed with Oscar in Golden Boys. Now that looks terrible that you know you're overweight, you lost your belt on your first title defense, and you lost the belt at the weigh-in. That's just crazy.
Wow. I wonder what that was about.
Yeah, well, he was also making excuses saying that he didn't want to kill himself because he wasn't able to train or hit a treadmill, which is like a bunch of bullshit anyway, because he probably had 6 to 8 weeks to like shred that weight off, and he thought that he was going to lose probably 3 to 4 pounds or 5 when he got there. But you need to be ready at all times, you know?
But that's BS because you live in a very beautiful region of the country,
Right.
where the weather is always fair. For East Coast guys, hell, because we look at the weather now, 25 degrees, it's cold as shit. You know what I mean? So that's just an excuse, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so my last 2 I have, and I'm going to pass it on to Nick, is what's your favorite cheesesteak spot in Philly? That's one of our favorite questions they ask too.
My favorite, you know what's crazy? For the first time last week, I had a cheesesteak from Ishkabibbles. It was nice.
Ishkabibbles? Okay.
Yeah, it was nice, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't front on it. It was a nice joint. So I think that might be my new spot.
Where was your old spot?
My old spot was, of course, D'Alessandro's, of course, Max's. Max's, you go to Max's for the, you know, they give you like 3 steaks in one. So if you go to Max, you know what I mean, you're going for just the amount of steak you getting. And then the D'Alessandro's is just soft bread, real, you know, it's seasoned real nice. It's real good. And then there's a few poppy stores in Philly that got some good steaks.
Yep.
Of course.
You gotta try Steve's.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You ever tried Steve's steaks before?
No, I never tried.
Oh man.
Steaks everywhere in Philly.
I know. Every other fucking corner. The best Philly cheesesteak. The best Philly cheesesteak.
All right. So my last one I got, there's a ton of boxing this weekend. But you know, obviously we got Sonny the Bronco Canto heading to Vegas, I think today.
Yeah.
But the one I want to ask you about, I'm very excited for. who do you have, Oscar Valdez or Miguel Berchelt?
Oh yeah, I was talking about that fight. I gotta go with Berchelt, man. To
Yeah.
me, he's just a vicious dude, man, and real powerful in both hands. And I like Oscar Valdez. I like his boxing ability. I like his tempo. The thing I don't like is I pay attention to him, and in between round 5 and 8, he
Mm-hmm.
has like this mental like block. You know what I mean? Where he's like fighting, but he's not paying attention to what he's doing. So I see Berchelt hurting him in between those rounds, between 5 and 8. So look in between rounds 5 and 8 and see if you can see what I see.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't think I mean, like, I know that Shakur Stevenson really wants to fight the winner of this, but like I love Shakur Stevenson, and he does have a lot of flash of early Floyd Mayweather in him. But I don't think right now, I don't foresee anybody knocking down or beating Berchelt at this level at the moment. I mean, like, I would love to see Shakur fight Miguel Berchelt, but he just looks really good. I mean, like, I do love Jason Sosa, but he really exposed Jason Sosa bad when they fought back in November of 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, different punching power, you know.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I'm going to pass it on to Nick now. All right.
Appreciate you. No problem.
All right.
All right, so I usually ask this question, and just because I love bashing this particular person, so what are your thoughts on the whole YouTubers getting these massive paydays to come in the boxing ring and fight guys that haven't put in any of the time, like you guys, and like, you know, all the boxers that you know in Philly? What are your thoughts on that?
It's crazy because I don't have a problem with them boxing. My problem is y'all not fighting anybody. And what I mean by that is, I personally know these guys been in the gym for about 5 years. They've been training for a nice time. So they've been hit. They know what it's like to, you know, to really train and run and strength and conditioning, do all the things they have to do. But you challenging guys and then giving them 2 months to get ready. I mean, we talking about guys who never put gloves on. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to give somebody an opportunity to make some money, give it to a guy who never made that money but actually is a fighter. Don't fight a guy like Nate Robinson, who's a basketball player, and then he's undersized. Because, y'all may be similar in weight, but Nate Robinson is not naturally, when it comes to swinging hands, fighting, he's not naturally a cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? Nate Robinson is probably, for real, for a 154-pounder. You know what I'm saying? But he's blown up because first of all, he's retired basketball. And then, he stays in some good shape, but it's muscle. He's not lean like a fighter. Now, these two guys, they both running around that cruiserweight. They both about 6 foot, 6'1", good shape, and they beating on guys. I mean, they doing their thing, but it's like fight a real fighter so that the fighter can make some money and get some publicity. Don't fight another celebrity that you know doesn't have no time in the gym, because these guys been around in the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for some reason, like, you can't take away from anybody that's out there making $1, right? So, but like you said, coming from like a real boxing fan, that's what you would want to see. You know what? Like, Jake Paul's about to fight Ben Askren. Ben Askren is a former one championship title holder and a former UFC. Listen, he totally, I don't even know what was he thinking going to the UFC, but he ran into some warriors there. But all he's known for is grappling, right? He's an NCAA Division I All-American wrestler, and then Jake Paul's like, oh, he's gonna be my first real fighter. I'm like, but he's not going to be.
Yeah, they fooling people.
Jake Paul might knock him out too, just because he's strong and he gets hit. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have bad hands, but like you said, I think he needs to fight a guy who doesn't have the publicity, like you said, and who has maybe like 6 to 10 wins on his record, and just boom, go from there. That'd be awesome.
I'll fight either one of them. You know what I mean? that'll be entertaining, because at least you can say I've been in the ring before. You know what I mean? I got experience, and I am undersized when it comes to the two. They both bigger than me, but I think I'll make it exciting. When it comes to the publicity part and when we get in the ring.
Right. I think the media, I feel like you would have a blast with that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
With like the interviews. So
Yeah,
I wanted to.
no. Greg's weigh-ins alone are friggin' hilarious. Like Greg from time to time will post all of his weigh-ins, and he's just trash talking the dude. The dude just wants to kill him, but it's just so funny with his weigh-ins.
You have to have fun with it.
Hell yeah.
I meant to ask you the picture Joe put on his Instagram story, and you're pointing like this. What were you doing?
So that was the press conference when I was coaching my man Gabe Rosado. So Gabe Rosado had fought in these 2 events in Vegas where they had started up like a new boxing league called BKB. So BKB, you know, they was going all out, you know. So they had Shane Mosley there working with what's my guy named Curtis Stevens, and I was working with Gabe. So they had got me like riled up, and we was talking about experiences because I actually had sparred Curtis Stevens not too long before that. So I was pointing at one of his friends, and I was saying he remembers, he was there, and that's when I guess.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it might have been a technical.
Damn. So who's Sonny the Bronco Conto fighting this weekend?
He's fighting, the guy's last name is Acosta. I think he's like, because like Sonny was telling us when we were interviewing him, and it was, I think he was like 6-2, so it's a pretty good one. Okay, Greg's rejoining. Here we go. I just admitted him. Okay, perfect. We got him.
We got two gorgeous Gregs now.
Yep. Well, one go. Now. Here it is. Okay, cool.
I was like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with 2 gorgeous Gregs here.
Are you able to hear us, Greg? I think maybe his audio. Are you able to hear us now?
Mm-mm.
Okay, looks like he's connecting now. Okay, cool, perfect. Okay.
My bad.
No, all good.
I know it's all good.
My uncle called me and shit. So it was the press conference, and the guy, you know, one of the guys that was on Curtis Stevens' team, I was like reminding him, like, yo, you was there when we was boxing, so they caught that flick like right at that perfect timing. I was pointing at the guy and shit, laughing and shit.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, we just having a ball.
Yeah, I just like randomly found that, so like I didn't even know the story behind it because I was like trying to find like a good shot of you, and I thought that was like funny, so I was like, all right, cool, let me post this.
Yeah, a lot of people love that picture, man.
That would have been my profile picture for my lifetime.
I did throw it up for a while. I had it up there for a little
bit.
Like
you could make that into a meme for anything. Like you're getting ready for a fight, point at someone, I'm coming for that ass or something.
Real shit though.
That'd be hysterical. So talk to us more about your son.
My son's he's 14 years old. He only has 2 fights. Mm-hmm. He's 5. He's about 5'7", 5'8", 100. Right now he's 190 pounds. He's a big kid.
Okay.
Wears size 12 shoe.
Jesus
but
Christ.
yeah, he's he's just growing, man. He's a good kid, man. Everybody know him as Pat. I don't know, man. 7th grade, just chilling, man. He's a good kid. He's a real good. I'm proud of him, because everything going on around him, he's still, he works hard on not getting involved, in stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. So I just, I'm real proud of my guy. And
that's what I watched it's like a little documentary. It's from a few years ago. Eddie Alvarez, grew up in Kensington, and he was down with Ariel Helwani. He's like the biggest, I guess you can call him reporter for the UFC. And he just walked around Kensington and showed him his old house and showed him all the boxing gyms, Harrogate, Front Street, you can name all of them. And he's like, the reason why he referred to people as stuck. And he's like, and Helwani asked him, what does that mean? He's like, oh, they're stuck here. They can't leave, and like they're in too deep. And he's like, that's why there's boxing gyms all over here, because that was like a gateway for me to stay out of this neighborhood. And it's really good because even you as a coach now, I kind of like saw myself as soon as you were saying that. I played soccer my entire life. And then when I started coaching, I found myself being way more intense and like way more serious. And listen, I took it serious like playing, but as a coach, there's just something different about it. Like you want to see these kids succeed, and you want to see these kids have like a life outside whatever neighborhood they're coming from.
Yeah,
like, there's a better purpose in life, and whether that's from boxing, playing sports, whatever it is, that's really awesome to hear that you put so much effort into these kids and wanted to see them succeed.
Yeah, man. It's because I look at it like this. I tell them all the time. I say, if y'all don't listen to me, then you get into the fight, and then I'm giving information, you're not receiving it, and then you get hurt. I got to bring you back to your family and explain what happened. You know what I mean? That's hard to do. So I try to, you know what I mean? I try to be, I mean, it's crazy, but I never see myself being that serious. But yeah, I am when it comes to fighting, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the most, probably the biggest, the most serious sport you have to take serious at all times, because you see some people, unfortunately, get very, very hurt in that fight. And listen, that can happen to the best fighter in the world. I mean, you think about like Pacquiao got knocked out cold just from like a little right jab or right cross, whatever he got hit with, and it's important to have a great coach in your corner to be teaching you all through camp and having that guy in your corner, you know, and that speaks volumes of the person you are and the coach you are, that they want you in their corner.
I appreciate that.
No problem. What was I going to get into? Do you watch any of UFC?
I like UFC, but it's like I don't have like a favorite guy. I just like to look at it.
And what are your thoughts on cage fighting? Because where it started, even Eddie Alvarez hits on this too. He said cage fighting was never a thing. Like it was there, but it wasn't like huge. It was always boxing. That's what Eddie started off with. And now UFC is kind of like overtaken boxing a little bit. And I think it's due, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like some of the politics in boxing, and, you know, the best fighters in the world aren't fighting the best fighters in the world. If you can hit on that a little bit, that'd be great.
I mean, me myself, would I do it? No, I wouldn't do it. But then I'm such a fighter, I think I would try it. At the same time, when it comes to the interest part, and as far as being big, it's big because there's more blood. There's more black eyes. There's more knockouts. So is it more entertaining than boxing? Yeah, it is, because if you just like looking at somebody get their ass whooped, this is where you go, because somebody's sure going to get their ass whooped. That's what you get with MMA. You know what I mean? Boxing is a martial art, but it's one part of it. Mm-hmm. MMA, you mix them. That's why it's mixed martial arts. Right. It's everything. So I can knee you, I can elbow you, I can choke you, I can kick you, I can punch you. You know what I'm saying? I can damn near headbutt you. It's so much I can do, even though they're not allowed. But it's like it happens. It happens by accident. So the reason I think it'll never be exactly bigger, like bigger than boxing, is because boxing is like the old school way of doing things. Mm-hmm. Let's throw our hands up and let's just box it out. But then MMA is like, I want to kill you, but I don't have a weapon. So I got to turn anything I got into a weapon. So MMA is like an action-packed movie, and boxing is like a classic love story. Yeah. And I mean, it'll break your heart. But with the action, you just getting action. You're paying for the action. You know what I mean? So I honestly, I worked with a few MMA fighters, Sammy Oropeza, and there was a few other guys I worked with before in the past. And I even worked with Muay Thai fighters. I love all of it because it's all fighting. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have that feeling like, man, fuck MMA or fuck Muay Thai. Like, I don't feel like that. I like all of that shit. You know what I mean? It's exciting to me.
Yeah, you know because every MMA fight, every UFC fight starts standing up, and you have to have hands, you know? Yeah. At the end of the day, this right fist or this left fist can help save your life in an MMA fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I have a funny story. You're probably familiar with this gentleman, the new Ray Robinson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Ray actually, he bought a car from me years ago. And he wrote down on his, whole application, stuff like that, pro boxer. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you buying a Hyundai for? He's like, listen, man, I'm not that guy out there making millions of dollars.
Right.
And so we just got to talking, and I started like training with him, and I fell in love with it. I was like, why didn't I start doing this when I was 12 years old? And then I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, why the hell didn't I start doing this when I was 12 years old? She goes, I didn't want to see you get punched. I'm like, Mom, well, if I'm good, I won't get punched.
Real shit.
And then, and I was like, Ray one time had to go out to Vegas to film The Ultimate Fighter when Eddie Alvarez was the coach. And and I went, Ray, I was like, oh shit, dude. I was like, what are you going to do when they try kicking you? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, what, are you going to hold pads for them? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, after like a few, after a good combination, they want to throw like a leg kick. He said, quote, I ain't let no motherfucker kick me.
Yeah, fuck that. And yo, those dudes' shins be hard as shit, man. Like from repeatedly kicking on the bags and kicking. Bro, I don't want to get kicked by one of them motherfuckers neither. No,
imagine that. Like I watch one of my favorite fighters just because of like how funny he is, Derek Lewis. He his ring name is Derek the Black Beast Lewis. He's a UFC heavyweight, and he has like the all-time knockouts. But dude, he is the funniest person on Instagram or like in media and stuff like that. He took off his pants. You have to, man. Yo, you'll be losing it. He after his one fight, he took off his shorts that he wears during fights, and he wasn't supposed to because of I don't know what it is, but you weren't supposed to. And Joe Rogan goes up to him and goes, Derek, why'd you take your shorts off? He's like, my balls was hot.
Real shit.
Dude, but he'll be saying something so funny. Like, so now they don't really like go in the ring and interview anymore. You have to like go to this, backstage. They give you a headset, and then Joe Rogan's just talking to you, and he goes, and he acts like he can't hear him, and he's just like, yeah, I gotta take a shit because he knows he's on TV, so he's just trying to fucking
with people. Yeah, he's being entertaining. That's what people like, though.
He is funny, man. Like. He's fighting this weekend too.
Okay, I'm gonna check him out.
So he's fighting this weekend, and our guy from Philly's fighting too, Chris Dawkins. He's another UFC heavyweight. He'll be cracking the top 10 after this win this Saturday. So shout out to Chris, and good luck this weekend, Chris, if you're watching.
And what's his last name? Chris what?
Dawkins.
Okay, Dawkins. All right.
He's also a Philly cop too. So
Philly cop, yeah.
Yeah, he's a cage fighter in the UFC and a Philly cop. It's crazy.
And that's crazy, yup.
Yeah.
A lot of cops been popping up in the gyms and shit.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, for the last it's been a long time. Like the last 10 years, they've been popping up all over, like training and shit.
Well, I'd rather see them fighting than using,
oh yeah,
anything
sure.
else. You know what I'm saying?
Any day
of the week. Because dude, you'll earn respect. And Chris will say the same thing. He's just like, dude, that's my last ever resort. He's like, I'm fighting you. So it's like, you know what I mean? That's just a way better thing. But we'll get into that.
I think we got like 40 seconds left on here. Did you have a couple more for Greg?
No, I'm good. I was just getting ready to wrap it up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, yeah, because like this like shuts off like automatically once we hit the limit. Yeah.
Greg, thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it, and we'll be seeing you around soon.
You guys.
Of course, Greg. I'll see you around.
All right, man.
All righty.
All right, thanks, fellas.